that's the question, right? Is this going to nourish me? Is this going to make me feel good? Is putting this in my body going to make me feel good? Even though my mind kind of wants it right now, is it actually ultimately going to help me feel better?
A lot of people tend to overindulge on sweet treats during the holiday and just give up.
It's pretty much going to be impossible to avoid eating anything sweet this holiday season, right? But as you were saying earlier,
your greatest intentions are received with resentment. So now you're doing this thing where you're force-feeding other people your ideas about how they should behave over the holidays. And so you think that's a wonderful thing, but now they're pissed off at you on Christmas morning. The topic today is celebrate smartly. Smartly this holiday season. So, the reason why Melissa and I are gathering here today to, join some of you is to give you some tips to avoid the heartache, the headaches, the various issues that happen to a lot of people this time of year. You hate to just throw it all away and then have to start over again. And I know it feels like, everybody's doing some version of this, but, Melissa and I got some insight that other people don't have. So we're kind of special that way. All right. So, I'm going to ask a couple questions, and then Melissa, you go. And then we also have some questions from some people that we collected earlier, which are pretty good as well. Maybe they're even better than mine. But, let's get right into it. Number one question from me to you, for the people. For the people is, what does it mean to celebrate smartly during the holidays? Melissa, ready, set, go.
Well, this question is a loaded question because the holidays are a time of year when a lot of people they get completely out of balance. They have really good intentions going into the holiday, like I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to keep up my exercise, I'm going to keep up my daily meditation, whatever the things are we do that keep us kind of healthy and balanced. And so a lot of people go in with that intention. And what I would say is keep things simple and small. So instead of having these big grand plans about all the things that you're going to do, just focus on one thing, right? Even if it's just your daily movement or your daily meditation. And then if the other things come, great. But I would say focus on one thing during the holiday season, because there's so much more on our plates. There's so much more going on. There's parties, there's people, there's gatherings, there's food, there's all these things that are in front of us all the time. And there's lots of things for us to say yes to, but there's also lots of things for us to say no to. So we have to practice that. But I would say focus on one thing. Like for me this holiday season, I'm going to focus on moving my body every day. And that's like, for me, if I move my body, if I get out and go for a walk, if I play volleyball, if I go for a hike, if I do those things, that to me that's when I feel the most balanced and grounded, is when I move my body.
I love that. It's funny because less is more. We've only heard that since the beginning of time. My great-great-great-grandparents knew less is more. Make it small, keep it simple. Brilliant. Yes. Like, for example, here's mine. Now, I had a great conversation with Michelle Pettis last night. She's wrote this amazing book, and she's fluctuated about 700 pounds weight, lose weight.
Yes.
Gain the weight, lose the weight. And, she's my age. She's 65, so it's been a long struggle for her. And she Googled the word food. Okay. And it had nothing to do with, it had everything to do with nutrition and nutrients, and it didn't say health, but it just said, to give the body the best chance, or through nutrients and everything else. And so I'm thinking to myself, I ain't going to do that perfectly. All right. Now, like what you're talking about, you want to work out every day, which is brilliant. You might miss a day, but you're not going to beat yourself up about it, because that doesn't do you any good. And so for me, I'm going to look at every morsel and say, does this feed my body and my brain? Is this filled with the kind of vitamins and minerals and nutrients that I need to, live a longer life, have, quality of life, keep my energy and my enthusiasm for my life up. And that's kind of my way of doing it. And it's simple. I can look at food and know that brownie ain't going to do it. You know what I mean? It's like the apple pie. Probably not going to do it. So, what I'll do in that situation, because I'm going to break the rules a couple of times between now and the first, the piece that I would normally have will be that big.
Right.
So I still get the flavor. But I cut the sugar way down. I cut the calories way down. So that's brilliant. I love it. Go ahead. What else?
And I think also, like, asking yourself the question about self-nourishment, whatever that means, if it's the food you're putting in your body, it's the way you're moving your body, the mindfulness practices you're doing, whatever that is to nourish you. that's the question, right? Is this going to nourish me? Is this going to make me feel good? Kind of like what you're saying, you know, is putting this in my body going to make me feel good? Even though my mind kind of wants it right now, is it actually ultimately going to make me feel good or help me feel better?
Yeah. You know, especially with the holidays, with the extra stress that comes with it. I mean,
Yeah.
anybody who can get through these next three weeks with less stress, then you're probably a monk or something. Your meditation practice is spot on. But it's funny that we reach out for the more fat, sugar, salt, and processed foods during a time where that couldn't be more counterproductive.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It adds to the stress.
Bingo.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. Nice. I like that a lot. Next. Most people get caught up in the busyness of the holiday season and lose their routines. Tell me about it. What is your number one? You only get one. If you got two, I'll let you have two. Number one strategy for staying balanced. There's balloons on my side.
I know. Balloons up.
I got balloons. I got balloons.
Someone give
Celebrate. Celebrate. So wait, what would it be? Like if there's just that, again, we're back to small and simple, which I love that. This is great. What is your number one? And then, you know, just for me, what's your number two?
Yeah, so I would say balance is get out in nature. So for me, being out in nature is one of the things that keeps me really rooted and balanced. And if I have time in nature, whatever that means, if it's going for a walk at the beach, like by the ocean, or going out and hiking. So I've actually scheduled some hikes already before during this season. So I have some friends that I schedule hikes with, and we do them regularly. So I have those already scheduled in, so that I know that I'm going to be getting out in nature. So that's one of my main things. And that can include movement, but it can also just include sitting out in my backyard and kind of watching the birds. And there's hummingbirds and butterflies and peckers. And, you know, I love sitting out in my yard and just kind of watching nature. That's really grounding for me and balancing for me.
Yeah, which is gorgeous. You know, mine is, I guess somebody, I forgot who labeled me as far as my meditation and mindfulness and I'm like a extreme meditator. Like extreme events have to be occurring for me to do it. You know what I mean? I don't have a regular practice.
Oh, right.
So my goal is to get out and move, typically a walk. You know what I mean? I'll do my regular thing as much as I can. I mean, I'm going to be skiing quite a bit as well. And that's got a lot of energy in there. But I'm going to try to, while I'm outside, either doing what you're saying, like just sitting and chilling, or going for a walk, is that I'm going to do some conscious breathing while doing it, as opposed to just huffing and puffing, you know, as I'm walking up a hill or something. So, you know, box breathing is kind of my go-to. It just got dark in here. It's light again. You know what I mean? So just inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, or 5, or 6, or 7, or 8. Sometimes I go as high as 12, just to kind of make it intense. Especially when you're walking up hills, you do some box breathing like that. Oh my God, the oxygen inside your noggin is lights you up like a Christmas tree. Perfect timing, right? So, awesome.
The best way to bring yourself presence is the breath, right? Using your breath. And you know, there's a lot of anxiety that happens this time of year, or overwhelm. People feel overwhelmed because like, oh my God, I have so much to do. And it's like, just come back to your breath. That is like such a powerful practice and presence of just like, take a few deep breaths, do the box breathing, do the 4-7-8 breath, you know, just take 5 minutes and come back to your breath. And I guarantee your whole state will change.
Can you explain the 4-7-8? Why? Just a little bit, break that down for folks. Because I always do 4-4-4, 5-5-5, 6-6-6. But I also do big breath holds for like 30 seconds and then exhale fast. So to explain that to folks so they can maybe try.
So the 4-7-8 is inhale 4, hold 7, exhale 8. So anytime you hold breath and exhale longer than the inhale, it actually helps kind of regulate your nervous system. It brings it back online into a more balanced state. So the longer exhales really activate the vagus nerve, which is kind of that nerve that runs through our body that kind of regulates our nervous system. And there's all kinds of different things you could do to regulate your vagus nerve, but the breath work is one of the really powerful ones. That's why yoga is so awesome for you know, chilling people out, because you are breathing when you're doing yoga. Like that's one thing that's really mostly happening. And so that longer exhale, anytime you breathe, you want to have a longer exhale than the inhale. That's going to help bring your nervous system online and calm you down.
Now, in your opinion, the 4-7-8 or the 4x4, whatever box breathing or type of breathing like that, What would you tell people? Is that a 3-minute thing, a 5, a 7, an 8, a 10? What would you give people to get the
I'd
most?
start with 5 minutes, like set a
5,
timer
yeah.
for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? And then if you want to go more after that, give yourself more just naturally, but start
Yeah.
with 5 minutes. Always start small.
That is great intel because I get that question a lot. How long am I supposed to do this? It feels really silly. I don't think I notice anything. Probably because people did it for about a minute and a half.
Yeah, they do like 3 rounds and then they're like, I'm out.
And here's the one thing for a lot of you, they're like, this breathing talk, there's a lot of breathing talk and meditation and stuff. And I just, you know what I mean? I don't see how that would work for me. The science is there. You can go on, DuckDuckGo or Google or Bing, whatever your preference.
Any of them.
And look at the science behind what it does. What I tell people is if you're a non-believer, just take a moment and check in how you feel just right before you start. I feel kind of ornery. I feel kind of sad. I feel kind of like, anxious. Yeah. And just write the word down. Write the one word down on how you feel before you do it. And then do your 5 minutes, any version you want. And then see if that's the same word or not. Notice it's like, and you can even write, I want people write, frustrated. And then after the second word, they'll write different.
Yeah.
I can't label it really, but I'm not frustrated, but I do feel different. Different is better than frustrated,
Totally.
And that's just one kind of a way to check in to see. And then if you keep getting 2 different words, like the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th time, then a lot of people use prayer, like prior to prayer, like boom, that's like after prayer, there's a sense of calm, a sense of being connected to the Almighty, if that's what your thing is, you know what I mean? That's what my wife uses. I'm a little bit different than she is. So I use the breath work and that seems to get my head on straight.
That's great.
So try it. By the way, you can also pray and meditate and do box breathing. M. Scott Peck, who wrote The Road Less Traveled, he spent an hour and a half every day meditating and an hour and a half every day praying. One was listening to God. The other one was talking to God.
Good job, Scott. Woof.
So I don't know who's got 3 hours, but it just everybody's got their thing. I'm not a prayer. I'm a breather, and it seems to keep me in line. All right, next question. All right, and then we'll get to there's 2 more that I have, and there's some from our listeners. How can people enjoy the holidays without going overboard?
Practice one word. No. Okay, especially for the ladies.
How do you spell that?
N-O. Especially for the ladies listening, because women quintessentially put too much on their plates, take too much on, and always say yes. So I was talking to a client yesterday who was like, oh, I've already committed to all these things and I really don't want to do them. I'm like, 1 word, no.
Yeah.
Or 3 words, no, thank you.
Yeah. I like no thank you. And then, because some people, I'm sure a lot of people around you are so used to hearing you say yes, right? And they start to take advantage of you. And when they start taking advantage of you, and that's usually people who live in the same house that you live in.
Yeah.
Whether they're your spouse or your kids or whatever, or especially around the holidays when you're around other friends and family. Yeah. Hey, man, you know what? I can't do that right now, but thanks. And then the stress is just like, that's one more layer of stress, another layer of stress. It's just eliminated. Yeah. I mean, if you're a people pleaser, and you love it and you love sharing that and you got the house all tricked out and you got up at 5 o'clock, started the cooking and you watch everybody eat your food and enjoy the atmosphere, I'm not telling you to say no, right? Mrs. Not telling, but if you feel crushed and unhappy during the holidays, then no is the magic word. Yeah. It's your safe word for sure.
Yeah, and I also tell people if it's kind of like a bigger ask, if there's a bigger ask on the table, say, you know what, can I have 24 hours to think about that and I'll get back to you, right? If someone asks you something and you realize like, oh, that's going to be a bigger commitment maybe than I can think about right now, just say, hey, can I think about this and get back to you in 24 hours, right? Thanks for the invite.
Right. Yeah. And you can also put it back on them, not in a passive aggressive way, but just to say, hey, and if you have any other suggestions on another way for us to solve this or get there or answer that question or deal with this thing, I'm open to it. And maybe you and I can work on it together. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta help you now. You know what it is? And all you're doing, you're just looking for help. And actually that creates kind of a bond, right? As opposed to just, I'll do everything and you guys kick back and reap the benefits of my hard work. And some people just love the holidays. My friend Joe, it's like he's up early, he's up late. He's like, he's just Christmas present buying, light hanging, baking dude. You know what I mean? It's like
Love
his
it.
favorite time of the year. So, you know, he loves saying yes to
Go
everything. But
Joe.
everybody's different. Everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
All right, here's my last question. A lot of people tend to overindulge on sweet treats during the holiday and just give up. What advice would you give to those people?
Yeah. Number one, I would say it's pretty much going to be impossible to avoid eating anything sweet this holiday season, right? But as you were saying earlier, you know, eat smaller pieces of things. Like, don't deprive yourself, because then you're going to feel like you're not enjoying the holiday season, because there are things around that you might not get other times of the year. And so, you know, it's good to have those things, but just have them in small amounts. And really, this goes back to my mindful eating practice. Savor them, enjoy them, like really just, instead of feeling guilty and bad and, oh, if I have one, then I'm going to have 50. And it's like, no, that's not true. That's just your mind playing tricks on you. You know, have a little bit of what you really want, and just enjoy it, and then kind of move on, right? Instead of getting caught up around it. But I think it's important that we allow ourselves to have little things of what we enjoy or what we like, so that we don't feel deprived and miserable the holiday season, right? Like going to a party and white knuckling it because like everybody's enjoying and having fun, and you're like, oh, I can't eat because I can't go near the table because there's this, and this. And it's like, get a plate, put some things on it, go sit down and enjoy it, right? Like instead of just shoveling food in your face, be really, really mindful and intentional.
Yeah, that's great. That's simple. I did that at Thanksgiving. You know, there was this apple pie that was pretty off the chain. It was homemade, and then there were these pumpkin bars.
Ooh.
And the pumpkin bars were like, you know, they were like that big. They were big. And the apple pie, I cut like I had about a third of a piece. You know what I mean? And then I had a half of a pumpkin bar, and then the ice cream that was next to the two of them. You know, there was that moment of, yeah, but I don't eat dairy, and if I eat the dairy, well, I'm going to be really bloated. And like I know what dairy does to me. And there's two voices. There's the devil on that side, and there's the angel over there, and they go, come on, dude, come on, it's a holiday. What's your problem, right? So a lot of people are, you know, succumb to the effort strategy, and others are like, yeah, this is important. I don't want to lose track. I don't want to feel miserable in an hour. I want to get decent night's sleep tonight. And you know, these little individual moments are substantial, and they're building blocks for who you will be under any and all circumstances that are familiar to this. Totally. You know, I'm sorry, that are similar to this. So yeah, I mean, what we're talking about isn't easy, but they are simple. They are simple, and that's kind of amazing. So all right, here we go. There goes the light again. I'm back. These are 3 questions. Anne Marie. What holiday goal can I set for myself regarding nutrition over the holidays and any other time for that matter? So yeah, we're talking about regarding nutrition. I like that. Nutrition is kind of the optimal word there. And the other part that I like is, okay, the holidays are over. How do I keep going into 2024?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to have a focus on nutrition over the holidays, eat more vegetables, right? Like, or if you know that, you know, you're going to go to a dinner where there's a lot of just heavier foods, maybe eat lighter during the day, like eat a salad and put some really good stuff in it so that you feel nourished, like nourish yourself throughout the day. I mean, but to be honest, you know, like, again, we don't want to put these like parameters on things, because like strict parameters on things, because then it's almost like it pulls us toward the other side, right? It's like the angel and the devil, like you said. And once you start putting parameters on things, the devil's like even louder. The devil's like, I'm going to pull you in. So I would say, like, just focus on eating balanced, right? Like, don't get too crazy one way or the other. You know what I mean? Eat vegetables, whole grains, lean meats, like the things that you would normally eat on any given day. You know, enjoy those. And if you have sweets here and there, that's okay. It's not the end of the world, but just, again, do it with intention and do it with mindfulness. And don't get too crazy about it. You know, I mean, it is 2 to 3 weeks out of the year. It doesn't mean we want to throw everything out the window. Right. And we are going to be eating differently than we normally do. But that's, you know, for me, I I just eat what I normally eat, which is a really clean diet. And then knowing I might go to like a dinner or a party and there might be some dessert there or whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm going to let myself have the dessert. And I do like a little tiny piece and that's plenty. Like I feel fine with that. It helps me feel good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my thoughts.
The two things that I would add to that is, and everybody's heard this tip 1,000 times, but I'm here to remind you once again, do not, all caps, do not, screaming, do not show up at a holiday party hungry.
Yeah.
Yikes. You are like, I don't care if you're Johnny Discipline. Eat that healthy food before you go, you know, satiate yourself. And then when you go to the party, there might be a little dessert. You can have a small piece of it or something. Yeah. That's number one for me. And that's, I mean, I can't tell you how many parties where I look around and go, oh my God, thank God I ate before I got here, because I'd be munching on all this stuff. Yeah. The other one too is if there's a holiday meal or there's stuff and you've got a plate, you got to fill it up. It's kind of a buffet vibe. Or even if it's not, if you're asking for portions, if the mashed potatoes are going around, the stuffing's going around, the gravy's going around. Hopefully there are some healthy, nutrient-dense foods somewhere in there. I would go like lots of salad, lots of broccoli, right? And then your mashed potatoes that big, your turkey slices one, your little bit of gravy, and then a little bit of stuffing. So when you look at your plate, it's mostly green. Yeah. It's got mostly green on it. And that way, you know, you're filling yourself up with the nutrients and the fiber that your body craves, that your brain craves. And then the other stuff that you used to pile up this high is tiny over there. So you get those tastes, you get those flavors. Yes. And what I do is I eat the salad, I eat the broccoli, I eat the asparagus first. And then the mashed potatoes and the gravy and the turkey is kind of my reward. Like, oh, now I get to, And then I learned this from Melissa a long time ago. When I cut it, and now I've got some food in my body already, right? I've got some food that ain't going to make me tired, food that's going to give me the energy that I need. It's good for my organs and my tendons and my ligaments and my muscles. And so I've got some food in me. And then when I'm eating the other ones, I'm not going to run off to get portion number 2 and number 3 sometimes. Yeah. And last but not least, which I also learned from you, just enjoy it. Be in the moment and savor it. Like, you know, you don't have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. How many bites? 78, 79, swallow. No. Just do like 2 or 3 or 4 more than you normally do. Like chew, and then when you normally think it's time for me to swallow, go, am I done? No, now I'm done. You know what I mean? Yeah, and you'll enjoy it more. It's in your mouth longer. You get to taste it longer. You know, you don't want to turn it into saliva, but ew. That's ew. All right, here's a question. Let's see. This one's from Sammy. Hi, Sammy, if you're out there. How can I influence others to make healthy choices over the holidays? That's hilarious. Oh, Sammy. Oh, poor Sammy. Do you want to answer that one? Can I answer that one first? You go. We're going to say the same thing, but I want you to say it. Sammy, by the way, your intentions are so pure. They're so wonderful. They're so great. And that's terrific. And I think that's great. But the number one mistake that you're making is that you can influence others and tell them how to eat over the holidays. Yeah. And like, you know, how many times have I said this? 1,000 times. The worst kind of advice to give is the kind that people have never asked for in the first place, because your greatest intentions are received with resentment. So now you're doing this thing where you're force feeding other people your ideas about how they should behave over the holidays. And so you think that's a wonderful thing, but now they're pissed off at you on Christmas morning. You know what I mean? So you can't, man. You can't raise an eyebrow. You can't go, oh, you can't. Man, look at you. You're not nothing. You just stay in your own lane. Your own lane. You know what? And lead by example. Like that's, you know, if it rubs off on someone, great. But that's you leading by example. That's not you telling people that they need to be healthy or eat better or blah blah blah. Stay in your own lane. That's the truth. And that's hard. And that's a mistake that I used to make all the time. Oh boy, I remember. You remember, like, what are you doing? Do you have any idea the poison that you are putting? Person starving is sitting down, they're a bunch of friends, and I am berating them based on the fact that they've picked on their third serving of
I remember
cranberry
the
sugar
camps
sauce.
when you used to have the big camps. You know, we did that one in Vegas, and you were like walking around the room, checking everybody's plate, and everyone's like hiding.
I know. I mean, even I was in my 50s before I learned that lesson. Yeah, Sammy, you know, you just gotta live and let live sometimes, man. And people will come around whenever, you know what I mean? Just focus on yourself, you know what I mean? And if anybody's looking to you, if they ask you questions, don't give them advice. Don't even give them advice then. What you do is you explain what you're doing for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey man, that's really cool that you asked. Hey man, I've done a lot of research, and I used, you know how I used to be pretty overweight, and I couldn't do anything, and I was mentally, I had brain fog all the time, and I couldn't get out of bed, and I just noticed that food was, you know, either nutritious medicine or it was killing me slowly, and this is what I'm doing. I'm plant-based, or I'm pescatarian, and I'm finding that it works for me. I mean, you know, you might want to do your own research to figure out what works for you. And that, like, a person who hears that is like, oh, you've put no pressure on them at all to do anything other than just be a good listener, you know, which is gold. Stay in your own lane. There you go.
Stay in your own lane.
Yeah, I said all that, and Melissa said it with one quick, perfect sentence. This is Rebecca. What healthier dessert options would be recommended for a holiday meal? What do you got there?
I mean, so I always bring a dessert wherever I go. I'm going over a friend's for Christmas. I went to a friend's for Thanksgiving, and I made a vegan chocolate pudding pie with a gluten-free pretzel crust. It was ridiculous. It had coconut whipped cream on top. It was totally vegan. It was sweetened with maple syrup. It was incredible. I just made some chocolate peppermint brownies that are vegan. They're made with oat flour, maple syrup, cashew butter. Awesome. So I always just, you know, I love looking for really fun desserts that are, number one, gluten-free, because I'm gluten-free, and then vegan, because I like vegan desserts. And I feel like when I eat them, they feel good in my body. They don't feel heavy. They don't give me kind of like a stomach ache, or I don't get, you know, when I eat gluten, I get itchy. My throat gets itchy.
Right. I know that feeling. Yeah.
I'll send it to you, Shauna. Shauna wants me to send her the recipe. But yeah, I mean, there's tons of great healthy recipes out there. So I have a ton on my website. I've done some inside Power Nation.
How do people find you, Melissa, if they want more? Like I see right now, recipes, please! Exclamation point. Because you're loaded. And that's another thing. If you don't, before you do that, if you don't bake, like I don't bake, I don't know how to make, right? So, you know, look in the neighborhood wherever you live and go buy something that's low glycemic and higher in fiber, and then you can eat that when you arrive, and you're still satiated, and you just have a small portion, and then you're living large. You know, you're vegan. I'm part-time vegan, which apparently I'm not allowed to be. You can't say that. There's no such thing as. It's like being a part-time Catholic. I don't know. Maybe that's not. Maybe you can be. I'm a plant-based.
Oh no.
Yeah, they're still here.
Oh.
Whoa.
Was that me or you?
That was me. Something happened here. Okay. I live on a mountain. I live on like a bobcat just ate my internet.
So recipes on my website at karmachild.com, and then also inside Power Nation, we do some fun cooking classes. There's so many great resources in there. And so karmachild.com, you can go there, and that's where I have a lot of recipes as well.
Perfect. The one thing I want to thank you, Melissa, so very much. You continue to be a rock star. That's why we love you. I want to leave with this. If you're not a member of Power Nation yet, I don't know what you're doing. Go to powernationfitness.com, powernationfitness.com. I got a program there, 24 workouts called The Power of 4. Right now, Motown with Scott Morgan is blowing up. People are loving it. Of course, Michael Bradley's on there and Brian Palatucci. There's so much great content. And of course, Dr. Mindy Pelz and I have Power Think 60, which is, I got some testimonials yesterday that I've started bawling. Like this one gal was in a terrible relationship. You know, she finally got out of the relationship. You probably read the same one. And she was like, I'm stuck. And, you know, she had lost 10 on her own, you know, through heart. And then without even trying, she lost another extra 15 doing Power Think 60. So get in there, boys and girls, men and women, cats and dogs. aunts and uncles. It's free till your mama takes your sweatband away for 14 days.
Yeah.
So go in there, look around. You're going to fall in love. You're going to fall in love with it. And by the way, here's my tip of the year. You can stop doing P90X now. You can stop. All right. It's like backing up like a pterodactyl. Don't smash.
Like,
yeah, Tony, it's what I know. But right, like P90X is based in muscle confusion, a made up term that meant variety. It's time to get onto the new stuff.
More variety.
Get more variety. It's just still me. There's new jokes. There's new fun. There's old cast members. There's new ones. And you're going to move your body in a new way. Listen to this, Melissa. I'm week 2 in changing my personal plyo routine that is 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
Tonight, I wish you were down here. We're mixing animal flow. I watch Michael and I go, I got to do it.
Oh my God.
And me, look, it's taken me 17 years to finally change a routine that I'm very familiar with. It's really still really hard. And we're just changing it because it's
great.
So get off the P90X, get off the P90X3 and get on to PowerNationFitness.com. And
oh my gosh, there's so much inside Power Nation Fitness. It's incredible. Like there's every kind of workout you could want. It's really incredible.
Yeah. And by the way, this is just from me to all of you. This is Shauna and my pet project. This is our thing. You know what I mean? We don't work for a big old company anymore that takes 98% of it. You know what I mean? We get more of this. It helps us. It helps feed us and our dogs and helps us have our life. So we're trying to build Power Nation now that it's just about Sean and I. My wife works, you can ask Melissa, pretty much 18 hours a day to keep the ball rolling, to satisfy our customers, to make sure that people get the great content, to make sure that they get what they're looking for so they get the results they want. And the testimonials are real. The testimonials were real with P90X3 and X2 and X2. I mean, you work hard, you eat right, life's going to change. And I've learned a lot since then, a lot. Yeah. So you might want to get into some of the new intel and things that I've picked up and then support the Hortons.
Support the Hortons instead of the big corporations, small business.
Yeah. We're a small business, all right. We're teeny. But the quality is through the roof. So.
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah. Melissa.
Thank you.
Smart. Be smart for the holidays. And
so we're going to be back on December 20th.
Oh, good.
And we're going to talk about the new year, moving into the new year. So no resolutions, none of that crap. We're going to talk about how to move into the new year.
I'm fired up. I'm fired up to have you share these brand new, people don't do these kind of strategies for these very doable long-term into 2025, 6 and 7 strategies that people, again, are easy and simple. You know what I mean? Without killing yourself and thinking, oh, I'm going to quit drinking, I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to start working out 17 days a week. I want to get down to a size -3. No, none of that. No more of that. You're going to change people on the 20th. Yay, coming up.
Same time, 3 o'clock. All right.
Melissa, thank you. Everybody, thanks for looking in. We appreciate it. And by the way, tell everybody over at Tony S. Horton to come over here to Tony Horton Fitness, because this is where the action is, kids. This is where it's going. So keep on keeping on, spread the word.